Hi, I'm Shoo Rayner, and I wrote this book, Monster Boy, Siren Spell. And as a special treat, I'm going to read this to you. This is the forest where he lives. Um, and here's his dad, who's usually away. It's the first time he's ever been in one of these books at home. Are you coming to watch me race? Dad asked Connor at breakfast. Dad was home to compete in the Forest Mountain Bike Championships. Of course, Connor grinned. Trixie and I will be cheering you all the way. I'm afraid I'm busy, Connor's mum said. Monsters of Pop are holding auditions in the forest today. The Monsters of Pop? Do you mean the TV talent show? Asked Dad. Well, what's that got to do with you? Mum smiled sweetly. I'm going to enter. I love the judge, Simon Bull. He's so dreamy. There was a moment of silence before Connor and his dad exploded into fits of giggling. But you can't sing, they chorused. I can too, Mum snapped. She opened her mouth wide. Whoa! A deafening wail like a sick cat filled the room. Connor and Dad covered their ears. Then Trixie joined in, howling at the top of her voice. Arrgh! She loved Mum singing. If you pass your audition, Dad laughed, I'll eat my cycle shorts. In the middle of all the racket, Connor's MyPod beeped. To Monster Boy, number 1 agent, from Mission Control, the Ministry of Monsters. It's the Forest Mountain Bike Championships today. We need you on patrol to attend any emergencies. Some monsters might get a little overexcited. Please leave emergency immediately. Good luck. Ministry of Monsters, this message will self-erase in 15 seconds. Gone. Sorry, Dad, said Connor. Ministry of Monsters needs me today. I might not be able to see all of your race. Dad looked disappointed. Oh, that's all right, son. I understand. Connor's mum looked after his amazing monster bikes at the Pedal O bike shop where they lived. A few minutes later, she had Connor's high-tech bike MB6 ready for a hard day on patrol. I made you lots of sandwiches and there's a big bottle of water, Mum told Connor. Do be careful. Oh, Mum, Connor sighed. I'll be fine. Connor's mum was a gargoyle, so Connor was half monster. His code name was Monster Boy. If anyone could look after himself, Connor could. As he set off down the cycle path, Connor called back to his mum. I'm more worried about you, actually. Please don't go to the Monsters of Pop audition. You'll only embarrass yourself. Trixie did not agree. While the forest was all decked out for the championships. Flags and banners marked the routes of the race. Connor parked on top of Dandy View Hill where he could see over the whole of the forest. Dad's race was late, and Trixie shared sandwiches while they waited. They waited, and waited, and waited. Had the race been held up? Had the route of the race been changed? Had all the cyclists been swallowed up into the mysterious dark hills? Connor checked the route of the race on his MyPod. He's going all there. The bikers should be here by now, Connor told Trixie. I hope they haven't taken a wrong turn. He studied the map for clues. Oh no, he gasped. The track runs very close to the Siren Rocks. If the sirens are out today, they could spoil everything. Connor switched on the directional sound amplifier and aimed his handlebars towards the Siren Rocks. The speakers began to play a strange wailing music. Oh, siren songs, he wailed. I hope we're not too late. This tells you all about sirens. Connor turned the amplifier off. He didn't want to be mesmerised. Searching through his equipment, he soon found his clip-on ear defenders. Can you hear me? Connor asked Trixie at the top of her voice. Ruff! Trixie barked. What? Connor couldn't hear a thing. Connor zoomed up the hill in the direction of the Siren Rocks, tall cliffs that rose high on the edge of the forest. The 3 sirens stood on the edge of the cliff. They played their harps and warbled their strange bird-like songs, luring the mountain bikers towards them. The bikers were all hypnotized. The song had lured them away from the racetrack. Now they wobbled slowly towards the edge of the cliff like a pack of zombies. Dad! Connor yelled. His dad couldn't hear him. None of the bikers could. They were entranced by the siren songs. Connor racked his brains. What could he do? Dad and the other bikers were seconds away from falling to certain doom. Connor had to distract the sirens somehow. He had to do something fast. Connor plugged his MyPod into MB6's sound system and chose the first song that came up on the MP3 program. Seconds later, the sound of an orchestra boomed out of his spike speakers and a crackly old-fashioned song voice began to sing,
If you all go down to the woods today, you're sure of a big surprise.
Oh, what? Connor couldn't believe it. The teddy bear's picnic? How did that get on my pod? It's so uncool. But it did the trick. The siren song stopped. They couldn't keep up their rhythm while the teddy bear's picnic drowned them out. The cyclists shook their heads and rubbed their eyes. They couldn't remember how they had got there. Connor's dad stopped right on the edge of the cliff and blinked. "Dad!" Connor called. "This way! Follow the path until it brings you out on the racetrack again." It took a moment for Dad to realise where he was. He leapt back on his bike and powered off down the path. "Thanks, son. I'll see you later." The race was back on. When Connor was sure all the bikers were on the right track, he went back to the sirens, who stared at their birdie feet. "Oh, sorry," they said with one voice. "We just love to sing." Connor's MyPod beeped at that very moment. It was a text from Dad. He always sent messages at the most unhelpful times. "Hi, son, I won the race thanks to you. Hope Mum hasn't really gone to the Monsters of Pop audition. Lots of love, Dad." Connor laughed. His dad had just given him an idea. "Come with me," he told the sirens. "I've got a job for you." Connor arrived at the Monsters of Pop audition just as Mum was about to sing. "I've got you some backing singers," he told her. "Trust me, I think they might help." Connor flipped his ear defenders down again. Mum began singing her awful drowned cat song while the sirens booped and shoo-booped in the background. She's going, "Whoa!" They go, "Shoo-be-doop-doo." The judges were mesmerised by the sirens. They didn't notice how bad Mum's singing was. Simon Bull, the judge with the dazzling white teeth, was transfixed. "That was the best we've heard today," he cried. "I'm putting you through to the next round." Mum ran up to the judge's desk and kissed him. When Dad came home later, he was clutching a gleaming trophy. "You're looking at the New Forest mountain bike champion," he said smugly. "Oh, that's nice, dear," said Mum, putting his supper on the table. "You're not the only winner, you know." The plate was filled with a pair of bright blue lycra cycle shorts, sitting on a pile of nice, healthy lettuce. Mum returned to the kitchen and began singing. "La la la la." She sounded like a parrot in a hot shower. Trixie threw back her head and joined in joyfully. Dad stared at Connor. "Does this mean that Mum passed her audition?" he shouted over the din. Connor was eating his supper with a peaceful smile on his face. He was wearing his bike helmet. The ear defenders were still attached. "What?" he shouted. And there we go. If you want to get a copy, go to shoorayner.com, where you'll be able to buy a signed copy direct from me. Enjoy. There's a whole other 8 books in the series. You can get them there too. That's shoorayner.com. Hope you enjoyed. Bye.